Okay. Is it getting it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Showing that's going.
Hungry Angry Show.
Episode
2. Land of the Lost versus that horrible Terra Nova.
Oh my God.
Worst dinosaur show to ever air on television. Let's hear you defend. And I'm setting up my. Oh, and we have a guest here, little dog. Oh, and here's Georgia. We are just starting, Georgia.
Cool.
You have missed nothing.
I didn't know you guys had already started. No.
This is episode 2, Land of the Lost versus Terra Nova.
I don't know anything about. I think I watched a little bit of Land of the Lost.
Great, you're a Land of the Lost person.
A little bit.
She watched a little bit. I mean, you should
But
probably watch it and went, oh my God, what's this shit?
I don't think I have an opinion on it because I think I watched it when I was like 7 or 8. So
I watched it when I was 7, way back in the day.
I watched it from the time I was 4 years old because it came out in 1974 till the time I was. Well, I probably watched it till today because I still watch it. I have all of the discs. They have worn out. They have been watched so much, and now I have ordered a second series of discs. The show is so good. I didn't actually wear it out. My ex-girlfriend, when I lived in Georgia, had a son, and he watched them. He watched them so many times, he actually could speak Pekuni.
How old was he at the time?
2 years old. And he spoke Pekuni very well. Do you even know what that is?
All I remember is Slee Stacks and Clay Dinosaurs. I know a few years ago, I was like, when the movie with Will Ferrell came out, I was like, Land of the Lost? Let me look this up on YouTube. And about 30 seconds later, I was like, holy fuck, I used to watch this. Oh my God. Click.
You clicked it off. You didn't watch enough to know how great the show was. Let me name some.
Back in the day, it was great. Yes, it was great.
Let me name some of the writers for this show. David Gerrold, the writer of Trouble with Tribbles, one of the best Star Trek episodes of all time. Larry Niven, one of the greatest sci-fi writers in history. Ben Bova, one of the fathers of science fiction. D.C. Fontana wrote half of the Star Trek episodes. She's one of the best female science fiction writers of all time. Walter Koenig, Lieutenant Chekhov, wrote an episode. In fact, his episode introduces Enoch, one of the Sleestak characters, who is, one of the very Vulcan-like Spock character, although the opposite of Spock. Who else is written here? I believe we've got Theodore Sturgeon, one of the greatest science fiction writers of all time. These were some of the best writers available. And then we have Terra Nova.
I am not. Wait,
Okay,
just 1 second. I'm not saying it wasn't well written. But I'm saying most people think back to Land of the Lost, they think of that retarded claymation dinosaur from RoboCop in a little car commercial.
For 1974, that claymation dinosaur was
you?
Jurassic Park.
Who remembers this? Besides you, John? Who remembers the
people,
writing?
Anyone that listens to this.
And the song at the beginning?
If you love Land of the Lost, please reply to the bottom of the radio podcast page, and we will see who loves Land of the Lost and who loves Terra freaking Nova.
And not to mention, okay, Terra Nova, it lasted 1 season. Why? Fox is retarded. Let's put it this way. If Fox Broadcasting existed in 1974, how long would Land of the Lost lasted? 1 season. Because for the time and the time now, it's the same kind of show. And the same fate would have been bestowed upon it.
Land of the Lost lasted 3 seasons.
Which Terra Nova would probably last longer if it wasn't for Fox. You know it!
No, well, Terra Nova, I have the biggest bomb.
How many shows have been canned?
Discussion, I have the bomb that is going to destroy Terra Nova in favor of Land of the Lost. But I'm going to hold it back. I'm holding it back because I want you to defend Terra Nova. I want you to defend it for just a few minutes.
If you're wanting me to whip out writer names and all this,
well, we can look on the internet.
You can look it up.
I know who they are. This is Renee. It's the people who wrote Enterprise.
They've moved on, just like these writers here. They did this and moved on. Everybody has
a stable.
Everybody has a shit job at the beginning.
These people.
Rob Zombie, one of my favorite musicians, one of the greatest directors of horror movies today. That I think is a great director. Hell, he used to be a set director on Pee-wee's Playhouse. Everybody's got a shit job when they first start.
These people, this is not their first job. people have been writing for
But this was
their entire life.
1975.
It's 1975, and Theodore Sturgeon's been writing since the 1930s.
Maybe he was bored, for God's sake.
No.
Maybe he got high that day.
No,
Maybe they contacted her like, look, we want you to write an episode
Land
of
of
this
the Lost
Land of the Lost.
was
What the hell?
meant to. David Gerald wanted to introduce children to science fiction, hard science, in the form of a show that they would watch. And he wanted to introduce them to science fiction in the form of a show that they would watch. And that's what Land of the Lost was. Land
And
of
it
the Lost.
was perfect for that.
It was perfect. It's absolutely. It is the perfect show. It changed a generation of people. Terra Nova changed no one.
Wasn't given a chance. I mean, it was by this
Had
time.
a
This is
season.
1975.
The season was horrible. It's a show about dinosaurs.
No, it's
that had
not.
no dinosaurs.
It's not just about dinosaurs.
Okay, let's go into the show. Some of the problems with Terra Nova. The first episode, a guy tries to shoot the commander with a pistol.
Right.
You remember that?
Yes.
And there's a bullet.
Because they could bring things back through the
Yes.
time portal to that time period, so they could bring weapons back.
3 or 4 episodes later, let me look up Terra Nova real quick on Wikipedia, because I want to make sure that I have the correct names of these episodes. Okay, let's see here. I hate doing this. I should have looked this up beforehand like I did with Land of the Lost, but I don't really care that much about Terra Nova. Anyway, 3 or 4 episodes later, there's an EMP blast caused by a meteor explosion. Yes. What happens to the guns in that episode?
They didn't have any guns in that episode. Even the guns wouldn't affect the guns, but the other weapons they had, the sound weapons, weren't affected.
They actually say in that episode there are no regular guns with bullets in Terra Nova except for one gun. The guy that runs the tavern owns one. Now,
at what point did they stop using the regular guns and start using the sonic weapons? Because they were using sonic weapons a lot. They had them
they
all
do
on
have
the
sonic
wall.
weapons, but in the first episode they have a regular pistol with shoots bullets, not
Who
a
did?
sonic weapon. One of the bad guys.
They had it.
Yeah, but they still said the only gun in Terra Nova that has been brought to Terra Nova is the one this guy smuggled in.
He smuggled the gun in.
But
Maybe
when
the
we go to
military
the
didn't want him there.
the 2-part final episode, they use messages scrawled onto bullets to send messages to the their people in the colony. The commander and his people who've been driven out by the company, the corporation, shoot corporation people with bullets that have messages scrawled on them. You remember that?
Vaguely, I might have missed that one.
Okay. The doctor takes the bullets out, reads the messages, and gives it to the resistance people inside the colony. Where did they get the bullets?
Don't they get constant things from the future?
No, they don't get constant.
Yeah, they do too. They certainly do. Pilgrimages, remember?
They come in, but
And they bring
don't
supplies.
guns.
They smuggle one gun in. They could have smuggled a crate in.
Okay, so they
The
smuggle the
portal
crate of
opens
guns
and they
in.
start bringing out crates. It could have been anything in there.
Okay. They brought in guns. Does that explain the fortifications around the colony?
What about them?
Any raptor-sized creature, anything raptor-sized or smaller, could just walk right through into the
The
colony.
only thing with the fortifications was compy-sized stuff could have got through.
It's 4 feet high. The
No,
whole
it's not. That one girl had to roll under. She had that much fucking space.
You
Yeah,
think
some
that
chicken wire could have helped there.
You think a raptor can't get through 2 feet of space?
Did they ever say it was supposed to be electrified? I would
How do you
electrify-
electrify a big pylon? That would take huge amounts of electricity.
It was electrified because dude was on that detail cleaning off the vines, remember? And it turned it on and knocked them off of it.
That's at the very top. There's electricity around the very top.
Oh, so the very bottom.
The very bottom
There's no
doesn't have
possibility they could run a current to the
Well,
bottom.
it would be nice if they did, but they
But they could have.
They talked about how they're out of electricity all the time.
Well, how are they powering it? More than likely solar panels.
I'm guessing.
Going back that far in time?
I'm sure that they're powered by. Of course, they're that far back in time. Why don't they power it with coal generators, or they've got
They just got
unlimited
there.
resources.
Let them build the shit. Oh, wait a minute. Fox killed it. Fuck you, Fox. Fuck you.
Fox kills a lot of things.
Yeah.
I dislike that, but killing Terra Nova was a good idea. We're going to go off Terra Nova pretty quick.
I've come up with a list of shows for this season of television, John,
Okay.
that you're going to absolutely love.
Well, let's finish
It's
Terra
right,
Nova.
It's right here.
When you get your list, the list.
Because there's nothing you're going to like.
I like Once Upon a Time.
That's already established. I mean, coming on, new shows coming on.
New shows.
You won't like any show.
I don't know what new shows are coming out this year. What new shows?
Oh,
Revolution.
See, you already hate it. You even
hated
watched it
before
yet.
I watched it. Definitely hate that show before I watched it. It's magical. You can't turn electricity off or your brain would go off. But wait a minute. We've got to get back to the reason. My bomb, because we're going to get away from Terra Nova now. We're going to go to my bomb. The number one reason why Terra Nova is not as good as Land of the Lost. Because the very last scene, the very last moment of Terra Nova, they discover that they are in the Land of the Lost.
No, they were not.
What did they...
What, Dinosaur Land? Okay, there you go.
No. What did they find? They found a ship. A pirate ship. Yes, they did.
No, they
Did
did.
you watch the very last scene of Terra Nova?
Yeah, they were talking to...
Inside that crate
the
was
commander's kid who was...
Inside that crate was a piece of a pirate ship that they found in the Badlands. In fact, in Land of the Lost, there's a pirate ship in a place called the Badlands. Would you like to see?
Sure.
I mean, I'm sure we can find it. Let's see. Episodes. Recurring cast episodes. List of Terra Nova episodes. Here we go. I'll read this off as we get to it. Final episode. Once Jim sets awakening, detonates the bomb. The mysterious cargo Mira discovered there is revealed to be an 18th century ship's prow and figurehead, with no clue as how it arrived at Terra Nova, or what else is in the Badlands.
I guess we'll never know because Fox fucking sucks.
So, we have a pirate ship, or an 18th century ship's prow, found in the Badlands, where in Land of the Lost there is a pirate ship.
Well, maybe it's a good thing that Terra Nova did get canned for one simple fact, because in season 2, if I saw anything that looked like a fucking slee stack, I would have went to Hollywood and killed.
Slee stacks were one of the most brilliant ideas on the show.
Oh my god.
It's an evolved dinosaur. A dinosaur that has evolved intelligence.
Into what looks like a human. Kind of.
Raptors are basically bipedal. What are they going to evolve into? Are they going to evolve into tentacled aliens? They're going to evolve into bipedal creatures like slee stacks. Slee stacks had a tail. Although I think in Land of the Lost, slee stacks are supposed to be insectoid, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, if they're supposed to be insectoid, how the hell is it going to be evolved from a raptor?
Well, I'm just saying that it changes.
No. No.
You thought they were lizards.
They were fucking lizards.
Everyone else thought they were lizards. I certainly, as a child, thought they were lizards. I didn't know about this insectoid thing until later on. But let's talk about the shows that are coming out this year. Do you know what shows are any sci-fi shows that are coming out this year?
I know about the Revolution thing.
What do you think about Revolution? I'm gonna shut up for a moment.
I haven't seen much of it. I saw one preview. And I was like, that looks kind of interesting, but I don't know anything else about it. So
They've only showed the one trailer. I haven't seen anything else really new TV-wise except for that and the Once Upon a Time trailer.
I'm just wondering what
and Walking Dead season 3.
Oh, I hope they do Walking Dead right.
They've been doing it right since the first episode. You have to change.
I didn't like season 1. I liked season 2 a little bit better. Okay, if y'all talk for a second, I have got to step outside.
Alright. What did you think of Revolution? The trailer you saw?
I don't know. As someone who likes to see female protagonists in sci-fi, because that gets pushed down a lot, I thought it was kind of cool because of the female protagonist. But I don't know anything else about it, so I wanted to see it to see what I thought about it before I came to any conclusions. But it looks kind of fun.
It looks like it's going to be a decent show. I hope they keep it going if it's a good show. But like with so many television shows, especially the realm of science fiction, fantasy, and anything along those lines. It's really tough for shows like that with all these damn, what do you call them, reality shows out there, because they just love, networks love crap like that. And they'll give shows like Terra Nova or Revolution a chance, and then if it doesn't hit like that, get rid of it. Just throw it. Hey, look at Serenity.
Oh, well, yeah, Firefly. But Firefly was a very diamond in the rough kind of thing, because there could be a lot of really crappy sci-fi shows out there.
True.
And Firefly was, like, top tier. Particularly because they didn't... I thought... I like Firefly because they didn't focus on the sci-fi element. Like, that was a background movement. Like it's the props and stuff were all, like, sci-fi in the future, things like that. But it was all about, like, the character interaction. And they really did well with that sort of stuff. But
I agree that is one of the strengths of Serenity. I think a lot of times when you show the future in the background and you don't focus on, you know, the inventions and things like that, it enhances sci-fi.
Yeah.
You know,
they weren't like, oh, look at our super flying technology and this is how it was created. And
that's one of the problems with Star Trek. Star Trek is all about technobabble. Of course, I hate Star Trek. Well, I hate
I'm not
Next
that
Generation.
surprised.
I hate Next Generation and beyond. I love the original Star Trek. I cannot stand Star Trek. In fact, I love Star Wars, but I love the Empire. Darth. I forget all that Anakin Skywalker nonsense. Darth Vader.
Who was a child murderer.
I said, forget all the Anakin Skywalker nonsense.
No, same
in
guy.
fact,
Same guy. Even though the line was ridiculous in the movie, oh my God, he killed younglings. He still did it. He killed a room full of
rebel
children.
propaganda.
No, it's not. He killed a bunch of kids.
It's rebel propaganda.
Rebel propaganda, no, we saw it.
Yoda
walked in.
Is a religious fanatic.
Who cares? He killed kids. Vader killed children. And then he turned into a big whiny bitch.
How many
What happened to Padme?
How
Oh,
many
God.
parents died in the terrorist destruction of the Death Star? Twice.
Oh, did you say parents or parrots? Because I thought you were like, I was like, how many parents were on the Death Star?
Parents of children. How many children were left orphaned by Luke Skywalker's ill-timed turn to terrorism?
They were working for the bad guys. They were working for a
Bad
child
guys.
murderer.
The Empire outlawed slavery.
No, they did not.
You can't bring
Wookiees.
in. You can't bring
Wookiees.
in books. You can't bring in books.
It was in the fucking movie.
When was it in the movie?
How many times did Han mention it? What about, what was it, episode 3? Episode 3, the Wookiees were
The
already
Wookiees
going.
had been. Those were rebels who had been arrested and were being forced to work.
And yes, I can bring in the fucking books.
You can't.
I will bring in the books. Thank you.
You cannot bring in the books.
Too late.
Extended Universe is some of the most fun parts about Star Wars because it doesn't focus on the
Voice of
Skywalkers.
reason.
It's all rebel propaganda.
I don't like the Skywalkers. They get really obnoxious.
The only Skywalker I like is Darth Vader.
Oh my God.
The rest of them are crap. Maybe Mara Jade. She's not. She didn't. Well, married into it. Otherwise, the other Skywalkers are crap. Okay, I brought in a book.
Okay, anyway. What were we talking about before we got off on this tangent about Star Wars and Star Trek and all that? Where were we going, Terry?
Well,
something about new sci-fi. That's where we're
new sci-fi.
New sci-fi shows.
Of course, I'm going to come back to Star Trek versus Star Trek versus Star Wars in a little bit because I really do want to talk about the communist underpinnings of Star Trek. The horrible, horrible communist underpinnings of Star Trek. And you know,
Oh, I know.
I have written huge amounts about this very subject.
I've heard about this for years, people.
Do not trust Star Trek. You would not want to live in the Federation. There's no way you would want to live in a Federation. You will not be one of the elites. See, that's what communism and liberalism and progressivism always trick you into thinking. You're going to be one of the top dogs. You will not. Unless you're in with the others, unless there's something about you that makes you elite, you will end up back on Earth working in some slum with no electricity, living by candlelight, just like Picard's family, just like Harry Kim was doing before he got onto the ship. because it's horrible living in the Federation.
I fully agree.
Every time the Federation is shown, a private home is shown. They're either heating the house with fire or lighting it with candles. Every time you go back and watch the episodes, I've shown you the episodes. If you see the restaurant that Cisco's father runs in New Orleans, he's cooking with propane burners. It's the 24th and a half century, people. He should not be cooking with propane burners.
Maybe he wants to cook with propane
Yeah,
burners.
but there are candles lighting the flame. I mean, there is a black market in the Federation. Countries that are open and clear and you can get anything you want don't have black markets. Why are site-to-site teleporters illegal in the Federation? Why are personal teleporters, wearable teleporters, illegal in the Federation?
Because you can break into shit. If somebody used it.
If the Star Trek fans are correct, then there is no want or need in the Federation because you can get anything you want from a replicator. Why would you break into anything? I'll tell you why, because there is want in the Federation.
Of course, there's humans. There's always going to be want and need.
Well, you know that.
Especially want.
For instance, Gene Roddenberry believed that he had perfected that in Star Trek, human beings had perfected themselves. I don't know how they did it, because they certainly didn't use genetic engineering, since that's illegal in the Federation. I damn sure wouldn't have made that illegal. Khan is the greatest character in the Star Trek universe.
What's that? It was working.
Hold on just a minute. I will. This is a technical difficulty.
Technical, sorry.
Keep talking among
Talking about
yourselves.
technology.
I'm taking over too much of the conversation.
Technology. I still don't think we got back on the topic of new sci-fi.
No, we didn't.
Oh well. What other new sci-fi shows are coming out?
I don't know. When he comes back, you'll have to look it up because literally all I know of is I know The Walking Dead's coming back. As far as new, Revolution.
Yeah.
That's the only new sci-fi show I know. I know last year, I think it was last year, you had some really horrible attempts. That one, it was a superhero show called The Cape. Did you hear about that?
Oh no.
That was like 20 seconds of my life I'll never get back.
I would never watch that movie. Oh God,
No TV show.
That show was horrible. Your
I was
daughters,
suckered into it. I was suckered into
Rob,
it.
Rob. When I say Rob, I mean
Yeah.
William. Your daughters have just discovered that since Danielle has left and we're no longer together, I have no need to have television.
Oh God, are they okay? Are they okay?
Yeah, they're okay. They're going to play a video game. I do not like most television programs.
No,
We had
seriously.
no idea. Oh my god.
I hate I have such a high standard.
New sci-fi. Let's look up some new
Okay.
sci-fi shows.
Look
that
up,
are coming out. What are new
look
ones?
up and see what's coming out this year. Sci-fi shows, because all we can think about, all we've seen is Revolution, and we don't know what else is coming up new. I know a few of the returning shows, but
Well, Sci-Fi Channel is going to.
we said good shows.
Yeah, I understand. They're never good on that channel.
Well, I like Eureka, but it's been canceled.
We've got Alcatraz. Is that returning?
No, it got canceled.
2012 Sci-Fi TV shows. 2012. All of our TV shows are returning with new episodes.
Oh, Supernatural is coming back, but that's kind of
Yes.
It's not really sci-fi. It's
Oh, Being Human. Oh, on Sci-Fi. I forgot there is one good show on Sci-Fi.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
The American version of Being Human is
awesome.
horrible.
It is. Oh God.
The British version is very good.
Oh my
There are
God.
some problems with the British version, but the British version.
Yeah, the problem with the British version is that it's on the air.
No, it's much better than the American
Even you
version.
thought that was funny.
It was funny. That would have been funny for any show.
This is last year. The River got canceled.
The River was horrible.
I never watched a single bit of it. I have no.
It was. Why? Okay, you're in the. Let me say something about the river
Okay.
that bothered me at
Alright,
the time.
alright, here we go.
They're in the Amazon jungle. What do you wear on your feet in the Amazon jungle?
Shoes,
What kind of shoes?
Nike boots, sandals, maybe something.
Sandals?
Something
in
to keep your.
jungle? Where
would say-
catfishes catfish burrow into your feet and...
I would say hiking.
What I would wear personally, you're talking about the people that grew up there.
Well, this woman didn't grow up there, and she was wearing sandals on a trek through the Amazon jungle.
She's an idiot.
She could just be stupid. She could be
the whole show was stupid, because the minute that supernatural monsters start killing me, I don't just keep going toward them.
Well, that's kind of a thing when you have like scary kind of elements. People do really dumb stuff in horror movies. And you would think they would have learned by watching
I learned at 13 when I watched Friday the 13th.
Yeah, you would think the characters would know that.
I learned my lesson about having sex unless I locked the door. I learned my lesson about doing drugs unless I lock the door. Do not have sex or do drugs unless you barred yourself within the room, because you will die. Because the creature will kill you.
I had a friend who got high once and then thought he was trapped in his room and the door was just pushed. It wasn't even locked. He like freaked out because he thought he got trapped in his room. So, fun stuff. Anyway.
Vampire shows. Oh my god, I don't even want to talk about vampire shows.
My wife watches The Vampire Diaries, and the only thing I've ever sat through the room and that was remotely funny on that show or entertaining was when the main character was thumbing through a copy of Twilight making fun of it. That was entertaining.
Okay, well that does sound fun.
True Blood, every vampire is evil.
Inherently, all vampires are evil. If you take a vampire and starve them, and then throw them into, like, say, a room full of toddlers, bad things will ensue. It's not like if it's a good vampire and he's been starved for like 50 days, he's going to eat some.
There aren't any good vampires. It doesn't happen.
Blade.
Blade's not even a vampire. He's a daywalker.
Vampire.
He's a daywalker.
Daywalking vampire.
I'm just saying that let's look at certain particular universes, such as True Blood.
Okay.
Is there a good vampire on True Blood?
Not on True Blood that I have seen yet.
I don't think I've watched it. True Blood.
Every
watched like 2 episodes.
Every vampire on True Blood, including Jessica, has murdered or raped an innocent person. Every one. And they do it regularly.
Yep.
I would be staking those motherfuckers every time I could get my hands on a stake. I would wear silver chainmail, and I would go out and hunt those bastards down. I don't care about vampire rights advocacy. I don't care about the liberal propaganda. Fucking vampires on True Blood are fucking evil, and I would have a stake in Bill and Eric both before... as quick as I could, because they're fucking bad.
They are.
And even the people with the vampire rights, the people that know the vampires best, know how bad they are.
Well, that one woman for the vampire rights, remember how she was feeding on people when she was supposed to be mainstreaming?
I understand. They're all evil.
Yes.
The only people that understand this are a bunch of rednecks, hillbillies, Cajuns. Cajuns kill vampires. Hillbillies kill vampires. We're the Cajun and the hillbillies. We would be out there killing vampires. And the religious fanatics. Now, I can't stand the religious fanatics, but they're out there killing vampires. They understand. Vampires equal bleach, trouble, bad.
True, but I think on True Blood there's like different levels of the evilness. I agree, they're all inherently evil.
They're all serial killers. Every one of them is a serial killer.
You got to think: has there ever been any vampire that has never killed a human? That has just
not on that show
that they've showed.
Even Terra has. I don't think Terra killed the woman in the last episode, but she did mind rape the girl. The one
racist, the one that kept fucking with her through high school. Oh my god, I give her that. Okay,
she still mind raped the girl. She still mind raped.
Deserved it, dude. She comes back after high school after 20 years.
Terra hasn't had a chance to be.
And what did she want? The first thing out of her mouth, start spewing racist bullshit. I fucking drained her at the bar. If I had bashed her over the head with a bottle of Jack Daniels.
But you can't kill people because of their opinions.
You're a vampire.
Yeah.
I could get away with a lot of shit if I was a vampire.
What do you think about vampires that are like that?
I don't know. It's kind of... I guess it depends. Like I said, I haven't seen enough of True Blood in particular to talk about that kind of world. I guess one of the upsides to the vampires in Twilight is that they don't like to kill people, and they try not to kill people. The family.
They're not
I guess.
vampires. They're like
They're
fairies.
aliens. I think they're aliens.
Fairies.
I read this really. I seriously read this really good article about why they're aliens, and they're like lost aliens, kind of like they got separated from their race, and and like through the generations they've like forgotten how to be aliens, and they've just accepted human culture and been like, oh well, we do this, so we must be vampires, and they've like taken on that label.
I can understand that because it's a Mormon fairy tale.
Yeah.
And Mormons believe that. I mean, I'm voting for Mitt Romney, and there's nothing against him because every freaking thing is a fairy tale. But, you know, God
You're voting for Romney?
Yes, I'm voting for Romney.
Oh, okay.
Oh, who am I going to vote for? Obama?
Don't plan to vote for either one of them.
I'm not
I don't
particularly
believe in either one of them.
with the selection.
I'm very happy with his vice. I'm very happy with Ryan. I'm very happy with
Don't know enough about him yet, though.
Ryan has put forth several budget proposals that will balance the budget. Obama's budget gets 0 votes because it grows the debt immensely. If Ryan has any say in this next administration with Romney, I'll be very happy with it. He was also very clear to say in his acceptance speech that he accepts everyone of every faith: agnostics, Christians, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, Muslims, and we're having a lot of technical difficulties today. I'm very happy with Ryan as vice president. I would be happier with Ryan as president. But
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do this time around. I'm not super happy with the political selection. I wish we could get some just totally brand new, out there people, but I don't know.
I would be happy if everyone in the government was fired, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I found a list of the new shows this year. We've
Okay.
got 666 Park Avenue.
That sounds like tons of fun. That was sarcasm. I don't know.
I think they're trying to build on the American Horror Story from last year. Did you watch American Horror Story?
Oh, no, I didn't. I'm not a big horror watcher.
It's more like a ghost soap opera than a horror story. Although there were some horror elements to it.
Ghost soap opera.
Yes.
It's a funny description.
Well, that's pretty much it. It was a lot like Dark Shadows in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Although the building itself was a character in American Horror. I think it's the best ghost television show that's ever been on.
What's that?
American Horror Story.
Oh. That was a good show.
Oh my
We
gosh,
can agree.
wait.
We're
you
gonna
guys
agree.
agreeing on something?
My God, I didn't know this. I didn't know you saw that. That was a good damn show.
That was the best ghost. And the good thing about it's an anthology series. Every season, they change the characters to be other people. So this season, it's going to be the 1960s, and they're going to be in a lunatic asylum.
The same characters?
Some of the same people that were on last season will be on
The
this
same
season.
actors and
The same
actresses
actors.
do it.
Okay.
They'll
They
be
change
playing
the
different.
characters.
Yeah, it's an anthology series.
Okay. I didn't know how they were going to do that this season.
I've never heard of an anthology series that changes season to season rather than episode to episode, which I think is a really unique and fresh idea.
It certainly gives the time to expand on the story, but also sets a limit, so you're not just like running through tons and tons of useless episodes. You're like progressive.
You're not getting bored. You know, okay, we've got season 2 of House of Ghosts. Oh, I'm bored, because that show could get boring in another season.
It could.
I mean, the Christmas ghost episode at the end could be really stupid and cheesy.
Well, that's why I like anime, because anime has like endings, like it has a beginning and an end. They don't just like keep making season after season, unless there's some animes like Bleach and Naruto and Inuyasha, which I don't actually watch. But
Akira was the last thing I watched anime and liked. That was what, 91?
I like Berserk.
Never watched it.
It's actually only got a few anime to it. I mean, movie anime. It's mostly book. It's actually really good.
have any of you guys watched Neon Genesis Evangelion?
No, I haven't watched that.
I bet you would like that. It's pretty intense, but
Back when I was a kid, I loved Robotech.
Oh, good God.
Robotech was great. Let's see here. We're looking at the new shows. We've got 666 Park Avenue.
I heard about that, but I haven't seen a preview or anything.
I haven't seen a preview for it either. I think what I was saying, the reason we were talking about American Horror Story is that I think it's sort of, they're trying to feed off the American Horror Story thing with the evil building.
Yeah.
We've also got, is it called The Arrow with Green Arrow show?
Oh my god.
Yes, I'm not going to be happy with that either. Green Arrow cannot helm a show.
Most DC characters can't helm a show.
Why is Wonder Woman not being made? Let me ask this question.
Because they tried it last year on NBC. The pilot episode looked like she looked like a stripper running around.
She's supposed to look like a stripper running around.
But she really looked like a stripper running around. When Wonder Woman was out in the 70s,
oh, God,
how old
what
were
a
we?
great show. What?
How old were we?
5, 6 years old, 7 years
Exactly. It was awesome.
old. It was awesome.
Now, no. It's
I
just
haven't
like a
actually-
stripper running around
I
with
haven't
a golden
really
rope.
watched those. But man, I love Linda Carter in that.
Yeah, that was then.
I understand, but we can still do it today.
No.
You don't think they could do Wonder Woman today?
That's one of the characters. Most DC characters cannot be made into their own show or movie. They can't hold. Now they're talking about making a Justice League movie directed by Ben Affleck. Have you heard about
yes,
this?
and he's gonna. And he always plays in his movies. So who's he gonna play? Superman or Batman?
Or Lantern.
I don't
That's
like
fine.
Ben Affleck. I can't stand Ben Affleck. Oh, I can't even think of a movie he's in that I like.
Mallrats.
I
You like the movie?
I like the movie. I hate the character. God, I hated him. I would have shot him. If I'd have been Banky, I would have killed him. Killed him.
What was his name in that movie?
Holden Banks. Oh, no,
Holden McNeil.
Holden McNeil. Holden Banks is in another. God, the distinguished gentleman, or whatever where he worked. Those are the type of people I hated in high school.
Yes.
I hated those people. I don't know if
I don't know the context. I don't know the show, the movie, or whatever. So.
You never seen Mallrats?
Mallrats?
Oh my God. It's
Have
Kevin
I'm
Smith.
shaking my head no.
Have you
You
seen
guys
Chasing
have seen
Amy?
it. No.
Have you seen any of Kevin Smith? Do you know who Kevin Smith is?
No.
Really?
I don't think so. If I saw a picture of him, I'd
Your
probably.
geek
Jane
card.
Silent Bob.
You're wearing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles T-shirt. Your geek card has been shredded and taken away and
Not
shredded
necessarily shredded, just put it to the side.
until she watches these movies because.
Write them down for me. I'll take them back and look them up when
I'll
I get home.
send the movies with you. I have to have my movies back. I give books away.
I'll bring them back.
Yeah,
Have you
Clerks?
seen Clerks?
I've seen parts of Clerks, I think.
The black and white one?
I think so.
Yeah, 'cause Clerks was in black and white.
Watch Clerks first.
Clerks, Mallrats,
Then-
Chasing Amy, Dogma, James
Seen
Silent
Dogma.
Strike Back. That's the
Dogma.
fourth one.
Did you like? No.
I watched it when I was fairly young. I should probably rewatch it because that puts things in a different scope. So that's one of those things I should probably go back and rewatch.
Okay, we are going to educate Georgia this week on
Yes.
these movies because the thing is, for Rob and I, for William and I, Kevin Smith is our age, basically,
Yeah, he's right around the same age.
and we understand. He talks to us.
Yeah.
Georgia is much younger, so he's not really speaking to her generation. He's speaking to Generation X.
Yeah.
And Generation X gets exactly what he's talking about. I understand being a clerk. I worked in a shoe store. I understand it. It was horrible. I did the same kind of things that they do. Everyone did back then. Today, I guess people just get on the internet, on their phones. That's not the way it was back then. There was nothing to do. You were bored out of your goddamn mind.
Yeah.
Standing around there for 8 hours. Anyway,
Until I got a Walkman and then I could turn my Walkman on and just stare at all this stupid
That's true,
people.
but, you know,
hear my own music.
when you first started, your Walkman was like this big.
Yeah, the earphones were like fucking
Yeah.
like that. When earbuds came out, it was like, oh my god, I can hide this under my
Sneaky
hair.
Technology. Did
Let's
that
see,
stuff in high
Beauty
school.
and the Beast, the remake of Beauty and the Beast, with
Is that
that
serious?
Kristen Curick girl from Smallville as the
Oh.
Beauty. Let me just say that Beauty and the Beast, the original with Linda Hamilton,
And Ron Perlman.
and Ron Perlman, was excellent.
That was a good show.
One of the best shows of its time. This show will be crap because they got a third-rate actress to play the character. And she will not be able to have the gravitas it takes to be that character. And I'm going to use a big word, not gravitas. But it is the word that fits. Let's see, Big Bang Theory, we don't care about, let's see, I do care about Big Bang, it's not new.
Yeah.
Season 2 of Touch.
Touch.
It's about some kid that has autism that can see the future. You can't,
Season
autism
2?
is not magical. I have autism, it's not magical. I wish it was magical. If it was, I would make like ponies appear out of my ass, but it isn't.
I don't think anyone would want to ride one of your ass.
What I don't understand is, it says season 2 of that show. I
Yes.
watched all of last year's season of Fringe, and I never saw a single preview for this Touch show.
It's out. It's stupid. He can basically. Who cares? It's a
Okay, I'm just saying, I watched at least one show all season on Fox, and I did not remember.
Fringe is going for a complete makeover this season. It's going to be all
This
of
the last
And it's
season.
the last one.
This is the final season.
This is every. I love Fringe.
I do too. I love Fringe.
Fringe is the logical successor of the good Years of X-Files.
Yes.
100% one of the best shows on TV. If you have not seen it,
I love that
watch
show.
it.
I've seen a lot of Fringe. It's pretty. I have mixed feelings about it. For the most part, I think it's good. There's parts that I don't like. I don't know. That's just me. But I like Fringe a lot.
Wow, if that's all the new shows that are going to be, it's like
That's
3
all.
new shows.
It's like all the sci-fi, so that means what else is coming out? Or what else is slightly sci-fi and they didn't put in this category?
I don't know, but they included Big Bang Theory in this category. Oh, it's not new, but it's shows returning. And that's all that's returning. Here it is, the new shows. 666 Park Avenue, Revolution, Arrow, and Beauty and the Beast.
That's all new, man.
4 new shows. That doesn't sound good. This is going to be the worst year for sci-fi that we've had.
Sounds like it.
Because there's
But
actually...
that can't be all of them. You
No
said returning
sci-fi.
to? Oh, no, new ones. Okay.
Yeah, new.
Yeah, I was gonna say because
I mean, we can look. This is on about.com. I'm sure they know.
yeah.
This is going to be a bad season, folks. Doctor Who is where we're going to have to sit and live for this season.
I'll just read a book. Sorry.
Why do you not like Doctor? Why do you
I
hate
don't.
on Doctor?
I don't
Who?
hate. I've tried to watch
I need
it.
to get into Doctor Who.
I've
It's one
tried.
of those things that I've seen, and I'm like, maybe I should try to get into that. And I always end up like getting distracted and not having the time or forgetting, and then seeing it another time. So that's something I want to look at and try to get into.
I started
really
watching
good.
season 1.
Okay.
And
See,
halfway-
wait.
and like 3
Season
episodes.
1, the real season 1, or season 1, Christopher Eccleston and Rose season 1.
That one. And halfway through, I was like, the only reason I'm watching it is because there's a hot blonde on it. I don't care about the show.
The first episode is pretty slack. The reason it survived after that episode was because people wanted Doctor Who back.
Is that the one when they go on that space thing and they got the woman stretched, the face?
That's later on. That's actually a really good episode.
But I thought that was the first episode.
No, that's like the second episode.
Well, that was the first episode.
The first episode was the plasticine creature that's under the bridge in London that creates the plastic beings, the Autons. It made the mannequins come to life.
All right, that one.
That episode is horrible. I don't like the Autons. Please, Doctor Who, if Stephen Moffat or whoever is out there listening, don't use them again. They're silly. I also didn't like the Adipose, so don't use them again. They're silly. Of course, a lot of things in Doctor Who is silly, but Doctor Who was a silly show, and it was originally made for kids. 1963, November 23rd, the day before or the day of Kennedy assassination. The day the first episode came on. Loved the old Doctor Who's. Tom Baker, of course, is God.
I liked the Tom Baker shows. I remember those when I was a kid. Those are good.
He's
And I immediately stopped watching that show when he left. When that blonde-headed dude sat up, I went,
I have heard
Well,
rumors
back then it was like
that he is
Flick.
going to be on the 50th anniversary show.
really?
Yes, and that's coming up this year, next year. And I've heard rumors that all the living doctors will be on it. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, you haven't seen the old doctors. Do you have Netflix?
No, I don't have Netflix.
Well, say Netflix, you can watch them all.
Not the originals.
Yes,
See if I can borrow
they're on
my
Netflix.
The Tom Baker ones?
Yes, all of them.
Huh, I know that.
What else do we got here? Oh, we can look and see what movies are coming out.
Okay.
Oh, I guess we could talk about The Hobbit, even though you didn't
Hobbit.
finish.
I'm not finished with
You
it.
didn't finish the book.
Hobbit. Where are you in the Hobbit?
Halfway.
That's like the thing I know about. Tolkien stuff.
Here's my favorite thing about The Hobbit. Let me find it really quick.
The chapter I'm starting is called Flies and Spiders.
Oh, you're a little more than halfway done.
You're getting there, yeah.
I've just been really busy this week. I was planning on finishing it yesterday, and I just had too many things around the house to do.
Have you ever seen this? Let me get it set up.
my God.
This is silly.
Bilbo.
Talk about people having crap jobs every once in a while. You gotta...
Leonard Nimoy was really, really famous at this point. And I mean, this is the height of his fame.
This is the 60s, right?
Late 60s, 67, 68. Okay, that's enough of Leonard Nimoy singing Bilbo Baggins. I don't know how they got him to sing Bilbo Baggins.
Hopefully with a lot of money.
I think they had to have thrown a lot of money at him.
And maybe he's a Hobbit fan, but to do something like that, that's pretty...
He strikes me as a fan of Tolkien.
Like, he seems like that kind of guy.
I am...
That is beyond one of the, that's probably going to go in my top 5 strangest things I've ever seen.
It's
That's up there with like a few of the ghosts I've seen in real life. That's just weird, beyond weird shit.
Okay.
You know what's cooler than ghosts? Ball lightning. You guys ever seen ball lightning? I've seen ball
I've
lightning,
never seen
and I
it.
thought that
I've heard
was
of it.
freaky.
I've never seen ball lightning, but I lived in a haunted house, and it's the only thing that makes me believe at all in anything.
Yeah, because you used to say it did
Remotely supernatural.
until that trailer.
I mean, I'm a big anti-supernatural person.
But you
until
cannot
I lived
deny
in
it
that
now.
trailer. It's very hard to deny it because, my God, that place is so haunted. It fucking scared the fuck out of me constantly. I'm not joking.
No, I believe you. There's
Rob,
bad stuff out there.
Rob, what happened in that house?
Which part?
I love ghost stories.
When you came to my house that day and you heard the knocking, you tell the story from your perspective.
I was, when we were sitting there in your room at the computer?
Yes.
And kept hearing the knocking out in the living room?
Yes.
And even, I don't think the girls were with me that day.
Nobody was here. It was just me.
No dogs, no nothing. You
No,
just
I
kept
didn't
hearing
have
the
a dog
knocking.
Well, that was the day when what happened, what Rob said, it was like this. Rob's like, what's that knocking? And I said, it's just a rat.
Why would you say that? That's
Wait
like...
a minute. I was in denial. Rob's like, what is that? I said, that's just a rat. Ignore it. Okay, it's not a fucking rat, it's a ghost.
Yeah.
It got mad. It got angry at me all the
For
fucking time.
denying it.
If I left a certain door open in the house, or I mean, if I closed a certain door in the house, the ghost would fucking freak. I'd shut the door on Halloween night because I was like, "You're not controlling me. You're not controlling me." I shut that door.
And it did
My
what was it doing
house.
next? Controlling you.
It got closer and closer. I was laying in bed, and it knocks on the window, and I'm like, "Okay, there's no kids around here, but some kids knocking on the window."
There's no kids
not a
around
ghost.
here.
It's not a ghost. Then it's knocking on the wall inside the wall in the room. Like it's somebody outside knocking on the wall. Then it's knocking on this dresser, knocking on it, and it's getting closer to my bed. It's nothing. It's nothing. Then it's knocking on the end of this bed right here that I have in this house. Okay, I'm opening the door. You're at the bed. I get up and open the door. I didn't want it to get in the bed with me. That's the last place I wanted.
It was going to be like, hey, John, why don't you open that door for me?
More people saw this haunting. Everyone that ever came to my house experienced this haunting. Everyone. And the house was spooky. It was a trailer. It was the spookiest place. Have you ever been anywhere spookier than that trailer?
Shadowline Park.
Okay, Shadowline Park, a lot of people see stuff there. But you aren't trapped inside Shadowline Park with something.
No, my car was right there.
The Henry River town, like the little town.
Oh, I love that little town.
I think it's creepy. Just because I've been driving through, not with the radio on and all that stuff, but like.
Never heard of this place.
This is the town where they filmed the Hunger Games.
Oh,
they
that's
filmed part of the Hunger Games there. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's not creepy anymore.
It's just right down the road.
Okay.
No, there's a bunch of like, oh my God, Candy's everything people there. So
Yes. Every time I drive by there a lot.
I like the Hunger Games. Don't get me wrong.
And there are always tourists there.
They're
They
tourists.
steal things. They steal things.
Skylar wants to go there. They're catching fire right now.
Well, why don't you go out that way back when you leave here today? You can go by it.
We might do that.
Just down the road.
I read the Hunger Games and then I had to take a break for a while because I was in the middle of school and
Is that town not perfect though for District 12?
Yeah, no, it really gives the feel because we're in like Appalachia and it's a rundown little town. Like, yeah, it's got a good vibe. It's got a good vibe for that.
But back to the ghost.
Anyway, ghost stories.
Did I tell you my story about Shadowline Park?
Yes, but you can tell it to the. We're doing
They
ghost.
haven't heard the story.
Yeah, they haven't heard the story.
Me and a few friends, this is before Ghost Hunters, before Ghost Event, before any television show, any of that stuff. Me and my friends are out there goofing around one night at Shadowline Park. If you don't know what Shadowline Park is, it's a big park that basically you got a little picnic area, a little bathroom area, and then a lot of field for soccer players.
And it's not called Shadowline because of some evil thing. There was a company whose owner was named Shadowline, and that's why they named it that.
Well, we're out there. It was a really moonlit night, and on the other side of the field, and that's probably, how big is that field, would you say?
Isn't it a football field?
A soccer field.
Soccer field,
like a multiple soccer fields. And on the other side of the field, we saw what we thought was somebody walking back and forth. And it was like they were all in black. And it was really far off. And we're like, who the fuck is that? And we're like, what the fuck? And one of my dumbass friends was like, hey, motherfucker. And like, right when he said that, the figure didn't walk forward. It just like,
oh my gosh,
forward.
it's an Enderman
We
from
were like,
Minecraft.
Because at that point, all three of us were like, did you see that shit? And my other friend, did it again. And at this point, I'm like, bye.
Later.
So we start heading to the car. And at this point, my friend who was fucking with it beats me to the car. He came by me so fast, I could have sworn I saw vapor trails.
Well, you do know Shadowline Park is right across the river from that Confederate prison that was here. And there was a battle not very far away from there.
Did not know that.
Yes.
Well, a couple of years
Hunters.
later, Ghost Hunters makes it big. Didn't think nothing of it, but the night Ghost Adventures premiered. Even though that guy that's the main guy on Ghost Adventures is a complete moron, they showed that place out west that they left a camera, and a shadow person, or what they call a shadow person, walked across that damn hallway in that camera. You can ask my wife. I fucking turned my head from the TV because that's what the fuck I saw.
Well,
I had no idea what those things were back then, and that's the first time I saw something like that.
when I lived in that house, when I lived in that trailer, the spooky thing about the trailer, because there are hundreds of these ghost stories. This thing bothered me every day. It wasn't a one-time thing.
How long did you live in the trailer?
2 damn long.
2 years. I bought it from my parents. I sold it back to my parents to buy this place. They still own it, so it's still there.
There's
It's an
somebody
old
living in it?
trailer. I don't know if anybody's living in it right now or not. It's old. It's a 1965 trailer.
Now,
Well, there's somebody living in
I mean,
it, but
is
apparently
there
not.
anyone living
I don't
in
know.
the trailer?
When I moved into the trailer, the back room had been completely taken apart. And what I mean is, they had taken the carpet or whatever was on the floor. The floor was down to wood. All the paneling on the wall was gone. It was just boards, as if someone had been murdered in there. And
You're getting rid of
and
evidence?
they had gotten rid of all the blood by burning the wood and the floor.
Tearing up all the floor and stuff.
And that was the room where everything was centered, where things
The
happened.
bedroom in the middle
No,
or
the very back room where I had my
Your armor and stuff.
in there. The first thing that ever happened was Richard. Richard is a magnet for weird and unusual. Richard could come in this house and a ghost would follow him into this house. I don't believe in ghosts.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I think that there's
Yes, you do.
a quantum weakness in certain places, and we're seeing through into an alternate universe. That's what I think is happening.
Tomato, either way.
Okay, it doesn't matter. That's what
It's
it
a
goes.
weird thing that we don't completely understand.
But it's science. My version is scientific, not a supernatural dead person. Anyway, every time Richard's around, he must have a weakness in the universe around him. Maybe it's his mass.
It's like a warp.
Yeah, he's warping
Creates a
space
warp.
and time around. He was there the first time something happened. And this is what happened. He's sitting in the living room watching television. The bedroom my bedroom is over here and my computer's in. Down the hall is where the weird stuff happens.
It's a vortex.
Richard's watching TV, and the door down the hall slams shut. Okay? Richard thinks that I must have went down the hall and shut the door. He's like, when did you walk past me? I'm in the other room. I'm not. I'm in here on the computer. Okay. So that was weird. A few days later, Richard was there again, and that table that's in that we're going to use for the studio is sitting in the middle of the living room. Richard and I are sitting around this table talking when a bird starts chirping. Okay, this bird is in the middle of the table.
Yeah.
Like the sound is coming from the middle of the
Yes.
table?
Yeah.
The sound is coming from the middle of the table. I walk all the way around the table. I am touching the area of the sound. I'm in the area with the sound. My head is in it, and the bird is still chirping. It's still singing, and I'm like, how is this possible? There's nothing there. I was freaked.
It was a ghost bird.
And then when the freaking spatula flew across the room,
You didn't tell me about that.
Oh no, it was me and Richard and two or three other people sitting in the living room. A spatula on the kitchen counter flies across the room and hits the wall. And we're all like,
And everyone's just like, fuck.
and then later, you know Spike.
Yeah.
A paintbrush flew across the room and hit him. And Spike, the ghost, obviously is racist as hell.
I was gonna say
Spike is black.
I was gonna say it's a racist ghost.
Every time he was there, that thing was after him. It did not like him. It threw things at him, and whoa, that got a little creepy. I'm glad I moved.
Yeah.
Because you hear people tell you about how horrible all these things are, and you wonder why they stay. I don't know why. I stayed because it didn't happen every day, every minute. But when it did happen, it was intense. But then it wouldn't happen for a few months, and you'd be like, how could that didn't actually
Just my
happen.
imagination.
It was,
Boom!
and then
Shit!
boom, it starts happening again. And if you ignore it, when it starts happening and if you ignore it, it gets worse. Just like the day you were there.
There was supposedly a ghost in a house down the street from where my grandmother lived in Southport, but it was a bed and breakfast, and it would take things out of people's suitcases and like throw them all over the room. So you'd like walk in and your suitcase would be zipped and just where you left it, or just where the door boy brought it up and put it down, and like your like shirts and underwear would be like thrown to all corners of the room. But if you said something to it, if you like spoke to it, it wouldn't happen again. And like, but if you were just like, that's freaky, it would keep doing it like over and over again. It was pretty
That
weird.
sounds more like the bellhop was doing it by the boss told him, hey, we need a ghost to bring
Ghost
people in. And so
I hate when people do shit like
because
that.
people do that a lot. And I'm not saying this because I want to make some money off this. I actually called a ghost hunting thing, but they wouldn't come out.
We got one here in Morganton.
I know, but I called the one in Asheville because
Oh.
back then there wasn't one. And they wouldn't come out. They just ignored me. And you know what? They could have seen some crap. at
Well,
my
you gotta
house.
think in the past 5 years how that's taken off.
I understand,
They're probably
yeah.
getting like 50 calls a minute.
They probably are, but I guess I didn't explain well enough that it was pretty much on demand. If I really wanted it to do it, there are things I could do to make it start. And people are going to say, "Oh, it's a bunch of bullshit." And yes,
People
it
always
is
say
a bunch
that
of bullshit.
until it happens to them.
I can't believe it happened.
But you admit it happened.
There are things that happen that I can't explain. That there must be some kind of scientific explanation.
Yeah, it's a ghost.
No, it's an alternate universe thing.
You've already used the word ghost how many times in the
But
past?
I mean ghost in the sense that it's an alternate universe thing.
But it's still a ghost.
Well, that's probably the simplest way to explain it.
And you don't really know what it is. You say
No.
it could be an alternate universe,
I don't
but
think
you
it's a dead
really
person.
don't know that.
I do not think it's a dead person.
Why? Are you afraid of dead people?
No, I don't think people die at all. I believe in quantum immortality.
You just hop dimensions for like eternity, basically.
No, if we live in a multiverse, with an infinite number of universes, it's impossible for anyone to die.
So reincarnation, descend on the universe.
You don't reincarnate. Well, you actually could reincarnate, but what would happen is, say you're about to die, you're on your deathbed. In one universe, you die, but in another universe, you continue to live. But you don't know that you die because now you just fell over dead of a heart attack,
your consciousness moves to a
But your
different
consciousness is still here because you're still in the universe where you didn't die.
So
You're basically immortal. If there's an infinite number of universes, you have to be immortal. There's no other.
but like you just said, if. And
We're
if
pretty
there's
sure
not. But if
quantum
they're
physics
not,
is getting really close to saying there are. They're really
but
close.
they haven't.
They haven't
Meaning,
yet.
the thing at your old house could very well be a ghost
It's more likely to be
that
an
didn't
alternate
like you when it
universe
closed doors.
intruding into
Or when you
ours.
closed doors.
No, it did not like the doors being closed.
Well, it could be some thinning of the veil between
Yes.
dimensions.
That's what I think it is.
And
And
this
I've heard
other
that.
being living in this other dimension is like, there's a freaking ghost in my house,
That's
and he
exactly
walks
right,
around
and
and
he
moves
shuts the
stuff,
doors.
and he shuts
True.
the doors, and it's stupid.
And it's telling somebody that I'm not here. I'm here, damn it, I'm here.
I've heard people talk about that before. Like, you hear people see, they saw Bigfoot or they've seen grays, and they say that's just like people or something
Bigfoot is
coming
just
from
feral humans.
or they say that could be people coming from other dimensions, and they just project that look. So
Oh.
people on our side don't, it's like a disguise almost.
All real Bigfoot sightings are sightings of human beings. That's why you never find Bigfoot bodies in the woods, because you find them all the time.
It said it in that movie. Bigfoot eat their dead.
Bigfoot. The reason you don't find dead Bigfoot is because we find dead, unknown dead bodies all the time of regular humans. That's what they're finding. They're feral, wild human beings. They're human beings because when I was at Fort Stewart, there was one on Fort Stewart, a person who was slowly becoming basically a wild man who lived in the woods with nothing but he would live under bushes and stuff and come out and eat berries. And he was slowly turning into what we would think of as a Bigfoot. That's Bigfoot. But
Did you guys hear about the one that was up in this area? Like,
it's not even 2 miles down the road. The video.
yeah, was that the guy who sounded really drunk on the news? Like, he had beautiful hair and
Yeah, it
stuff
had a
like
beautiful blonde hair. It's a
yeah,
blonde
beautiful
Bigfoot.
hair, and I had to get my stick out and had to wave my stick at it and be like,
After my
"Oh, now get
chickens.
it."
Want me to get my
Oh,
chickens?
Anyway,
Yes.
yeah.
Do you know that there
Bigfoot's
have been,
woods.
if you go on Google Earth and look up Bigfoot sightings, this house is like a center of Bigfoot sightings.
Maybe they're just seeing you out in the woods and they're like, oh my god, it's a Bigfoot.
Here's the thing. This is also traditionally one of the largest producers of moonshine within like 2 miles of any place in the United States. So, largest producers of moonshine, biggest number of Bigfoot sightings. Maybe the two correlate in some way that I can't understand.
Starting to see a connection.
Yeah.
If I shoot the Bigfoot, will I get in trouble? He's bothering my hounds.
Is there a season on Bigfoot?
Actually, I think there is in some state. It's a joke, but
I saw a bobcat the other day. Not related. Just kind of.
I actually you saw my post about the bobcat I saw here at the house, didn't you?
I might have.
I saw one here about a couple weeks ago.
I was trail riding. This was like a week ago. I was trail riding with the people that I exercise their horses for them, and the woman who works with me.
I would hate to see a bobcat when I'm on a horse.
I don't think the horses saw it. Like, I think that's the crazy thing.
You
The
are
horses,
lucky.
but it was way ahead of us. We were going running down a cornfield, and it was way. There's like these paths beside the cornfield, and it was way ahead of us. And I thought it was a dog at first, and it was going the same direction we were, and then it turned away in the corn, and it had big old ears, and I was like, that's not a dog. And it was pretty intense.
For people who are in cities and don't understand, when you're
Wow.
riding a horse and a leaf falls near it, it goes freaking nuts.
Horses are just like, whoa, everything's scary, whoa! Like, they seriously act like that.
They really do. A flag waving in the breeze will scare a horse to death.
A chair, like if you have a horse near your house and you put like lawn furniture out of place, they will get freaked out because the
Yes.
lawn furniture is moved.
It's alive and it's going to eat them.
Yes, it's pretty terrible. Well, I think they're fun, but
I love horse riding. Pasture of horses out here. I'll be glad when Danielle comes and takes them away, and then I can start deciding what horse I'm going to get for myself. But I love horses. I have 3 saddles. Obviously I like horses. Okay, are we?
anyway.
Are we going to keep going for a little bit longer, or are we going to wrap up?
What else is there to talk about?
Well, we talked
We
about...
talked about a lot of stuff. We didn't really talk about the Hobbit much.
Well, Rob
We're
hasn't
gonna-
finished The
We're
Hobbit.
gonna wait till next
We're
week.
gonna-
I will have it done.
He's been a bad person here. He's not... We could
Oh,
try...
I worked this week. I had
yeah.
things to do.
Well, I worked too.
You read the book already.
I understand, but I worked on the site all week.
Fuck you.
Hey, and next week, and people that are listening to the end of the podcast, you're going to find out Jerry Purnell. I'm going to be interviewing Jerry Purnell this coming week. I pissed off the owner of Valiant Entertainment, Valiant Comics, just yesterday, because
Is it really called Valiant Entertainment?
I believe it's called Valiant Entertainment.
That
Right?
sounds like a porn site.
Sort of
There
does.
are porn sites that are. I did a project on porn. There's porn sites that have very similar names. Vivid Entertainment.
Yeah,
Vivid.
Vivid.
Is the big. They do all the really big, like, high budget parodies, like the Avenger parody and stuff.
You know, those high budget parodies have got to be great.
China is She-Hulk.
They're pretty funny.
Josh Whedon, if you hear this podcast for some weird reason, we do want She-Hulk in the next Avenger movie, don't we?
I don't care.
Sure.
So
I don't.
Black
I'm
Widow's
telling
in
you, man. I don't know much about comic books.
Am I
It's
the
not my
only
thing.
She-Hulk fan on the planet?
I think so.
I have all
sad.
of them. That's sad. It is sad because
It's very sad.
Great. It's a great. I like comedy comics. Anyway, and that happens. The reason why I pissed off the owner of Valiant Comics because I like comedy comics, and his comedy comic is not funny. So we're gonna sign off. This is John Baird
William Mayfield?
Georgia Ballard.
signing off.
Weird.